The Eagles got some wild storylines going on at OTAs, as not only do they have several exciting battles to watch, including at wide receiver, safety, and even on the edge with Jalyx Hunt versus Nolan Smith, but now we also have a crazy trade rumor after a report just dropped that a former Eagle could actually be on the trade block, and many fans are hoping for a reunion in Philadelphia, but is this actually realistic? Plus, hear about some of the other key Eagles to watch at OTAs, including some of the new additions and a fan favorite on offense that's looking to earn an even bigger role this year. So let's talk about all that and more starting right now. Alright, so Eagles OTAs are officially here, and there are several major storylines to keep your eye on. However, the big story that captured everyone's attention on Tuesday actually came out of Arizona, as it seems a former Eagle could be on the verge of being traded, and Philly fans are thinking that a reunion in the city of brotherly love could actually be a possibility. And of course, I'm talking about Cardinals star edge rusher Josh Sweat, who I've talked about several times already this offseason because there have been multiple reports saying that Sweat is apparently not happy in Arizona, and the fact that he hasn't been at any of the Cardinals' voluntary offseason programs or practices has only added fuel to that fire.
Well, this sucks.
If Sweat really does want out, then it seems like there's a chance that he might actually get his wish, as reporter Jordan Schultz just put out a tweet on Tuesday saying, quote, "Sources, the Cardinals have received trade calls on Pro Bowl defensive end Josh Sweat. Sweat had 12 sacks last season in his first year with Arizona and had a close relationship with Jonathan Gannon, whom the Cardinals moved on from." Now, just because the Cardinals got trade calls on Josh Sweat doesn't mean that they are trading him. Nothing is imminent there by any means, but it does mean that several teams are at the very least keeping an eye on that situation, and someone could be there. And if the rumors are true that Sweat does want out and he is going to be traded, then you have to wonder if the Eagles could be a potential landing spot for him.
You come home.
I mean, you can't not think about it, right? Like, Sweat was a fantastic player here in Philly for a long time. He was a huge part of the Super Bowl run and nearly won Super Bowl MVP, and the Birds are always looking to add to the trenches, so it's at the very least worth thinking about, in my opinion, especially when it seems like the potential trade compensation isn't too crazy, as Bleacher Report writer Christopher Knox projected that a trade for Sweat might cost only around a conditional 4th-round pick that I guess would turn into a 3rd-round pick if Sweat hits certain statistical marks. Now, by no means is that officially what his trade compensation would look like. It's more so just a projection or an educated guess, but hypothetically, if it was a conditional 4th-round pick, then that's well worth it for Philadelphia, in my opinion. However, the tough part here is the money. I mean, there's a reason that Sweat left Philly in the first place. It's because they didn't pay him back in the 2025 offseason. Now, his contract actually at this point isn't too insane. He's only making about $19 million a season, which ranks 21st among edge rushers, so pretty team-friendly for a guy that's going to give you around 8 to 12 sacks a season. But the big issue here is that while the Eagles maybe technically could make the money work and trade for Sweat, especially after the A.J. Brown trade goes through, it may not be too wise to do that, considering they already have another older edge rusher that's on a big contract in Jonathan Greenard, and then you got 2 young rising stars also at that position in Nolan Smith and Jalyx Hunt, both of which are set to earn big contract extensions very soon, or at the very least trying to, because, I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to pay both those guys. So, the Eagles are already pretty set at that spot, and then for them to add another high-paid guy like Sweat into the mix, who's almost 30 years old, it just doesn't fully make sense from a roster-building perspective. So I honestly don't think it's super likely, but I'm not going to fully rule it out. We know that Howie Roseman is always going to be in on any opportunity, and, he knows how to make things work. But at the end of the day, again, don't think this is super, super likely, but hey, we'll keep our eye on it. But now, switching from a huge hypothetical and something I don't foresee happening to something that 100% is happening possibly right now as you watch this video, is that very battle at the edge rusher position between Nolan Smith and Jalyx Hunt. Because like I said, both of them are young rising stars, both of them are trying to earn contract extensions very soon, and these OTAs mark the start of a big competition between them this year to potentially determine who earns one and who doesn't. Now obviously OTAs aren't going to decide anything, we're very early on here, but it is the start of what is going to be a very crucial season for both of them. Because after this year, both these guys only have 1 season left on their contracts, making this year incredibly important if they hope to be extended next offseason. But the challenge for both of them is that the Birds just brought in and paid Jonathan Greenard to be their new top pass rusher, so don't get me wrong, Smith and Hunt are going to play a lot next season, but Greenard is almost certainly going to get the most snaps out of any edge rusher, meaning that Hunt and Smith are really going to be fighting for who gets the second most snaps there, and again, with them trying to earn contract extensions, every snap is incredibly important. Every opportunity is incredibly important. So again, these OTAs are the start of that competition, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. Personally, I love both these guys, and I really hope the Eagles find a way to keep both of them around for the long term. But again, the reality is that the Eagles can't pay everybody, and if you assess the situation where it's at currently, Nolan Smith's coming off a down year due to injuries and just not really being able to get into a nice flow. And then he also just had that driving-related arrest not even 2 weeks ago, so things definitely aren't looking super great for him, at least not as good as they once were. Meanwhile, Jalyx Hunt took a huge leap last year and led the Eagles in sacks and interceptions, and I think he's only going to get better. So as it stands, I may give the edge to Hunt by a little bit, but I still think very highly of Nolan Smith and think there's a solid chance he has a huge year. But again, there's a lot to be decided, a lot that still has yet to happen, and it all starts here in OTAs. And the same goes for the battle at the safety position, which we talked about in my last video. It definitely seems like Marcus Epps is the early frontrunner and favorite there after he impressed Vic Fangio last season. And barring any moves, I do expect that Epps will be the starter by the time week 1 rolls around. But guys like Michael Carter, Andre Sam, and Cole Wisniewski are all at least going to have a chance to compete in what Vic Fangio is calling an open competition. I do think the only guy there that has a real shot is Michael Carter, who they clearly believed in last year. Otherwise, they wouldn't have traded for him. But yeah, definitely think Epps is the favorite, but it's going to be really interesting to see how things start out in OTAs there, who gets first team reps on day 1, things like that. And then same goes for the wide receiver position, as of course we all know that A.J. Brown is going to be traded and Devontae Smith is going to be the Birds' new wide receiver 1, but behind that things are still a bit up in the air. Now, I do think it's a fairly safe assumption that Makai Lemon is going to be the wide receiver 2. Maybe it won't be handed to him, but I do expect him to earn that job in OTAs and training camp, especially since he was the Birds' first round pick this year, and I have a hard time imagining that the Eagles would pick a wide receiver that early and then not use him very much this season. Plus, as we've talked about, Makai Lemon is extremely talented, so it's going to be really exciting to watch him, see how he performs in the 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 team drills, and I am assuming that he wins that wide receiver 2 job, which again, all that's going to start here in OTAs, but again, it's going to be a process, so that'll be fun to watch. And then there's also guys like Dontayvion Wicks, Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, Darius Cooper, and Johnny Wilson, all fighting for playing time. And in the case of Moore, Cooper, and Wilson, roster spots will be on the line as well. And, I think there's a lot to like about all those guys. I talked about Dontayvion Wicks just a few videos ago, and said that I think he's extremely underrated and has the potential to have a really good season for the Birds. I also really do like the Hollywood Brown signing and love his speed and just what he brings to this Eagles offense. I think he adds a different element that not really anybody else in that receiver room has. And then the other guys I like as well for different reasons. So it's just going to be really interesting to watch that entire receiver room this offseason. And specifically during these OTAs, it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out and who performs well. And then also, it's going to be really exciting to get our first look at some of the new additions, whether it's veterans like Jonathan Greenard or Tariq Woolen, both of which I'm just super fired up about. Again, I think Greenard is going to be the Birds' top pass rusher this season and perhaps the most immediately impactful addition of the Birds' entire offseason. And then Woolen, I think, is one of the most underrated signings of the entire NFL offseason in general, and I'm even more fired up about him now after what Vic Fangio just said about him the other day. Plus, Woolen himself seems fired up as he just posted this picture to his social media. So, can't wait to watch both those guys for the first time in an Eagles uniform, and also excited for a guy that has really flown under the radar, that being Arnold Ebiketie, because he's a guy that, may have limited opportunities this year because he's going to be, edge rusher number 4 now, but I think he's got a good amount of talent, and I'm very interested to see if he can flash that during OTAs. And then there's also the rookies. We've already talked about Makai Lemon, but you also got the rookie tight end, Eli Stowers. Very excited for him, just to see him in 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 action, see if he can make some plays. And it's also going to be good for him to continue to get some live reps blocking as he continues to work on that, even though these aren't padded practices, so I guess it's not technically live reps, but you guys get the idea. He's going to get to work on that a little bit, which will be good. And then you also got offensive lineman Markel Bell and Micah Morris. You got quarterback Cole Payton. You got safety Cole Wisniewski. It's just going to be cool to get a glimpse of all the rookies and hear how they fare in team drills. And then we also can't forget about Uar Bernard. I doubt he's going to get into any 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 action because he is still obviously very new at this and just learning the game of football. But for him to just get the chance to get out on the field, get more reps, and develop is going to be awesome to see as well. And then also, in addition to that, one guy that I'm personally excited to get to see a little more of is running back Tank Bigsby. I know he was on the team last year, so he doesn't have that draw of being a new addition or anything like that, but he's a guy that when he did get to play last season, he was fantastic. I mean, it seemed like every time he touched the ball, something good happened, and a lot of Eagles fans were clamoring for him to get more touches and more opportunities last year, but given that Kevin Patullo was running the show and the offense was a big disappointment, of course that didn't happen. But since then, everything that Bigsby has done this offseason has just made me love him even more. Like, from defending Jalen Hurts to showing love to some of his teammates to working hard on the field and in the weight room, like, Bigsby has really grown on me this offseason, and now this season, in Sean Mannion's new offense, I'm definitely hoping for more Tank Bigsby touches, especially since, again, the more he touched the ball last season, the better. In fact, if you look at games where Tank got 1 carry or fewer, the Eagles were 4-5, but in games where he got 2 or more carries, they were 7-1. So definitely hoping to see more Tank touches this season, and here in OTAs, definitely excited to hear how he performs and see if he flashes at all. But all that said, I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys are most excited to watch at Eagles OTAs. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, the Eagles are currently out on the field at practice, or maybe the practice is already over, and we got a bunch more notes, news, plays, stats, all that sort of stuff to go over. So I'm going to be covering that very, very soon as well, so make sure you get subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the coverage that I got coming throughout these OTAs or this offseason, and also make sure you hit the like button because that really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes today. That would be greatly appreciated, and also hit the hype button because that helps me out a ton as well, and leave a comment. Again, what are you most excited about at Eagles OTAs? Just give me your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you do want to watch another Eagles video talking more about Tariq Woolen and how he's changing this Eagles defense, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.